All right, lads, welcome back to now the fifth episode of Who's Got the Ball. We got Shane back this week. He's back from his sick bed, his injured bed. So how's the back feeling, man? How are you?
It's getting there. Still not 100%, but it's good to be able to sit up again and hopefully smash out another great episode for the people to listen to.
Yeah, that's it. You were in a bad way though, to be honest.
Yeah,
I I went over and watched the Liverpool and Spurs game with Shane there last week, and you looked like you could barely even move, to be honest. Like so,
hmm
rough times, and
yeah.
they're
It's
not
it's
helping
not
you out
great
with
when
it.
you're watch. No, they're not. It's not great when you're normally watch a team that makes you jump around as well. That you can't do much jumping around. You just have to sit there and be sad.
I know, man. It was a some performance as well. But yeah, we're going to talk about Liverpool today, as
hmm
one of our topics. So we'll get on to them. But yeah, anything else with you? How's things? Back to work? Yeah. So unfortunately,
Yeah, back to work
there's
now.
that.
So, do you know what? It's good just to get back into routine again. Now would be good, and just just try and get back to normality. Really, that's all you can do.
That's it, man. When you're
Good to go.
an old croc like yourself, things like that happen. I suppose. Old back gives way.
Yeah, it was probably a couple of years in the coming, to be fair, but there was no need for it to go fully on me at one go. I could have kind of built up to doing what it did, but look, we're over it now. We're on the other side.
All right, let's get into the first topic. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. So obviously, that's the main thing that just went down last weekend. Ah, what a game! Like, well,
Unbelievable.
listen, to be honest, I like the performance, unbelievable. The actual game in terms of competitiveness, that's not even really a word, but to like the game being close, like it was not close. And if you're hoping for like a game on edge, you didn't really get that, but just the spectacle of watching what the Eagles did. And I think myself and Conan spoke last week about the Eagles' defense, and we highlighted some of the points there. And really, like, we talked about how many pieces they had, and you could go on forever. And some of the best guys in the game, we didn't even mention them last week because there's that many good defenders and key pieces. And Jalen Hurts deserves this credit and the game plan in general, but that defense is just something else.
Oh, they were absolutely incredible from the start. Like one from literally from kickoff, the defense was just it was on point, kept and just didn't let up the whole way through. Like Mahomes couldn't get anything going, couldn't find an open man until it was garbage time really when Xavier Worthy decided to come to life. But they really couldn't get anything going the whole way through, and they couldn't get any rushing going, couldn't get any passing going. There was nothing going from minute one till the last quarter. Really, the first three quarters were just all the Eagles
Yeah,
dominating the ball, and then when they had it on offense, Jalen Hurts was making them pay every single time. His wide receivers were incredible start to finish as well. Every time, it feels like every time he targeted them, they caught it. And I think the stats kind of showed. I think there was maybe three that didn't hit their target in the whole game, which is just it's crazy stuff. Like it really is. It was crazy how good they were.
yeah, Hurts was unbelievable, and the the fact that you know, I think the main thing of the game was I know when Hurts threw that interception, I kind of felt like, all right, this is like they've had the pressure now. This is going to be typical Chiefs. They're going to take advantage of this and absolutely make them pay like at the highest level for this. But they didn't, and the defense stood up. And the amount of time that Hurts had the ball is a testament to that defense, and the use of him having the ball was insane. Like I think it's a postseason record for the amount of points that they scored in the entire playoffs. Like the fact that they put up that many points in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, a very good defense themselves, I think almost is also a testament to the defense on the Eagles side. It doesn't make sense to directly say that, but when you link the fact that the Eagles defense just kept getting stops and giving Hurts the ball back to just completely pound that Chiefs defense into submission. Like Saquon didn't go off for a big run. He didn't have a big statistical game, but he was just constantly pounding at that line, making it tired. And then they were every third down. It seemed like they had a play dialed up that was perfect. And as you said, the wide receivers were just out of this world. And special shout out, I think, to Devonta Smith. He's now scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl, the National Championship, the SEC Championship, the Rose Bowl, Orange Bowl, and Iron Bowl. And he's only the fifth ever player to win the Heisman, National Championship, and the Super Bowl. So he's in some incredible company.
Yeah, it's safe to say that he is a man for big occasions, which is clear to see. And I kind of a stat I saw on Twitter that really made me kind of stand up and like almost clap the Eagles defense was that Chiefs didn't get past halfway until there was 2:24 left in the third quarter.
It's
That
crazy.
was their first time passing halfway into the Eagles territory. Like that's unheard of. Like so the Panthers would like you'd expect them to put up more of a fight than that in a regular season game, let alone the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Like, it's I couldn't believe what I was watching. Every time Mahomes was under pressure, every time. He
Yeah.
got no easy passes off. Every time he was dropping back, there was two or three people running at him. That's why he threw like the amount of interceptions he threw when he was running to the sideline trying to find space. The one to Cooper Dean, for example, he was
Hmm.
under pressure, floating out to his right, and just threw one straight into Cooper Dean's chest. Like it was actually incredible to watch. Like no one, I don't think anyone saw it coming, but nobody
No.
saw the Eagles' defense being just as good as they were.
Yeah. I don't. I think to be that level was crazy, and I think the most interesting part is it's very similar to that Bucks Super Bowl when Brady beat the Chiefs. They just obliterated Mahomes and sacked him and made him run around. And usually when he's running around, he has the answers. And I think this is the first time we've actually seen Mahomes like not help the Chiefs when they're in trouble. He didn't have a good game. Now that's the whole discourse of like somehow this would affect his legacy or anything like that. Like, cut that. He's one of the best quarterbacks we've watched in recent times, and he'll go down as one of the best in history when it all is said and done. But he didn't perform. And obviously, these guys don't have to perform every time, but when it's Mahomes, you just think he's going to bail them out. And when he's rolling out to his right, rolling out to his left, making space, you think he's going to find that pass, but he didn't. And the thing is, it's because of the way the Eagles played. They rushed four every time up front. They didn't blitz a single time in the whole game, and they had 6 sacks. They literally just pressured him, pushed him in a box because of the strength of their players. They're just like Nolan Smith. He's not the biggest guy in terms of height, and some of the people he was matching up against are like 100 pounds more than him, and he was pushing them back into Mahomes. That's how strong he is, and you need elite athletes to do what they did, to have that four press Mahomes into a box, and then he ran around. But sure, he couldn't do anything because they're only pressing four. Every single man is covered. You have lockdown cornerbacks playing on the other side of the ball. You have athletic linebackers like Zach Bond. Like, look at the catch he made. Like, this Eagles defense is built perfectly, and Howie Roseman, the GM, deserves a lot of credit for what he did because he's done amazing. And the fact that we haven't even mentioned like Jalen Carter yet, like, it just shows how good this defense is. It was quite a sight to behold, to be honest.
Like I think I'd love to. I know we never will, but I'd love to see like a Cameron Mahomes helmet where every time he looked up when the four lads are rushing him, he's looking down, he's looking at Bond, he's looking at Cooper Dean. He's like, where am I going to throw it? No one was open, no one was making space for him until again the last quarter when Xavier Worthy kind of finally managed to run off the back of people. But at that stage, like Joe, the Eagles had there, yeah, the Eagles had already the Gatorade shower was done. So like things like that. So the Gatorade shower was done so early that at that stage the
No,
Eagles were just like, oh yeah, can we just get it over and done with? Like
yeah,
there was no stage they were under pressure. They were never under threat of not winning that game. They were 34-0 up in the Super Bowl
in a Super
against the
Bowl
Chiefs.
against the
That's
Chiefs,
just it's crazy. It's just
it's
absolutely crazy. Just I was just looking at a couple of stats here. So like AJ Brown had three catches from five targets. Dotson, two catches from three targets. Barkley, seven catches from six targets. And Devontae Smith, four catches from five targets, 69 yards and touchdown.
hmm
Like that's one, two, three, four. That's only five throws that didn't hit his wide receivers or Saquon Barkley. In a Super
yeah,
Bowl, that's absolutely like that's just outrageous. He went 17 for 22 for 221 yards. And then you add in that to what the defense were doing, getting him the ball back so often, even in running. Like so Saquon Barkley didn't have much going for him on the running, but Jalen Hurts was able to get going then. Like when he knew Barkley couldn't, anytime he got a chance to step up, he made making big runs through the middle. I thought
Yeah,
their game plan was just spot on. Start to finish, their game plan was spot on, and it worked so well. Really, really
yeah.
did. Like
It just
The Chiefs
shows.
had no answers.
Yeah, it just shows that Hurt's confidence in the game because usually he goes to Goddard when he's under pressure, and they dial up a lot over the middle if he does need to throw it. But he had that confidence to launch like that throw down to Devonta Smith, the dagger to kill the game, and other throws that he made in the game. That one to Dotson that looked like the first touchdown was excellent as well. And that shows his confidence even from the very start. He'd been there before, he'd performed in the Super Bowl before. They didn't get it done, and he knew what was needed. And I've mentioned in the first episode how I was kind of a Jalen Hurts apologist, and I thought he's a good player when he does exactly what he needs to do. And I think he did exactly what he needed to do and more, and he deserved that MVP. Such a an excellent player, and just in general, I think looking at some of the facts here that like about Nick Sirianni that I see coming out, like I know people were saying, and we even mentioned last week that people see him as a puppet, and even now they don't want to give him his flowers. But like I have him here in all caps, he's the only head coach. Sorry, he's one of only three head coaches um, in NFL history with a 70% career win or more and a Super Bowl win. And the other two are John Madden and Vince Lombardi. Like John Madden has the NFL game named after him. Vince Lombardi has the
He
trophy
did.
named after
Yeah.
him. So like, are we gonna get the MVP named after Nick Sirianni at this point? Like, what's happening here? That is insane. That
I
like,
didn't actually know that. That's crazy.
yeah, just exactly what they did with him, what he did with Howie Roseman, kind of building that the staff that they have with Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, replacing them, getting them in as replacements when things didn't work out previously. Just just genius work. And I think honestly, with the fact that they have so many young players, they're closer. Obviously, they're closer than anybody else to a three-peat because they've just won. But I could see that their team and their squad going into next season much more capable of winning a Super Bowl than the Chiefs are, because the Chiefs are going to be limited with cap space. There's a lot of guys that they have to pay, and they can only pay a certain number of them. They're going to have to pay Trey Smith. So I really like the look of the Eagles for the next few years. They've got guys under contract, and they've got a lot of young guys. And one more kind of shout out that look away from the young guys, but Brandon Graham, last game back, made it back
Mhm.
from his injury, played through it all, and he retires as a Super Bowl champ after I think 15 years with the Eagles. So like
Yeah,
really, really good for him, and really good. One of the many great stories of the game. So yeah,
yeah. Another great stat was Patrick Mahomes actually rushed for more yards than his three running backs they combined. So Hunt, Pacheco, and Pirine rushed for 24 yards in the game. Mahomes rushed for 25. Like it's
that's
just,
nuts.
I can't get over how good the Eagles defense was from start to finish. They gave, they gave him nothing, literally gave him nothing, and Mahomes didn't know what to do with himself. Like there's a massive rebuild going to have to go on in Kansas City, I'd say, because they
Yeah,
weren't really that good throughout the season. They really weren't. They won so many one-score games, and so it's great that you can go on and win the one-score games, but not every game in the regular season is meant to be a one-score game. You should be blowing out a couple of teams if you are good enough to get to a Super Bowl.
yeah,
And obviously they had a bit of help. Didn't have that in the final, obviously, but like you shouldn't. They probably weren't a team that should have gone to that Super Bowl. And just the scoreline in the Super Bowl shows you that they were well second best that Eagles team.
yeah. I think a better matchup would have been an Eagles and Bills or Ravens matchup, but
Mm.
obviously the Chiefs know how to get out of that AFC, and they know how to win big games, so that got them there. But I think the athleticism and the youth of the Eagles team, although the Chiefs have a lot of young players too, but just that explosion on defense. And I was a bit disappointed with the offense the Chiefs dialed up and what Reed had. I know Mahomes didn't help them with the picks, but like Fangio didn't change from what he's been doing all year. So what were you scheming against? Because he did exactly what he does all season, rushes four and has everyone covered in the backfield. Like, could you have some little plays dialed up there to kind of slow this defense down? And like, this is Fangio's first Super Bowl, like an absolutely excellent coach. But teams have worked out his scheme before with players that weren't to the caliber of Mahomes. So I think they could have done a bit more to make it a bit more kind of competitive, and they'll be disappointed in themselves for the way things kind of ended up. But all credit to the Eagles and all credit to Fangio, Kellen Moore, and Nick Sirianni and the whole team because they're just excellent. And yeah, what a win for them. I was in Berlin watching it at the NFL Germany Super Bowl party. Actually, have a couple of pretty cool the beer mats here that had the logos and stuff on them.
That's
So yeah, pretty cool. Took home a
nice.
couple of souvenirs and stuff. So yeah, that's it, man. The season is over now. So much to talk about in the off
I know.
season with free agency, draft, head coaching hires, and everything. But the big game is over. And do you have anything else to round it
Mm.
up before we move on?
Like what you were saying there about the offense for the Chiefs. Like there was no routes that normally you'd see Kelsey kind of go deep and then come back and take a short ball, and then he'd make room for himself or he'd run at people and kind of get extra yards. There was none of those where he was going out and coming back and giving Mahomes like an under often even. It was just kind of everything was go long, go long, go long. It was like they panicked on the big stage, which you would not expect from the team who'd won the previous two. Other than that, I am looking forward to the off season. T. Higgins put out a bit of a cryptic tweet there today as well, so I think he's obviously going to be on the move now as well. So I think there's a good lot coming. It's going to be a wild off season, I think.
Yeah, yeah, crazy stuff. And obviously, we haven't mentioned the fact that we're getting a game here in Ireland. That's coming next
Mm,
season with the Steelers playing here. But next week we're gonna have Jimmy English on from Steelers Ireland and Gaelic Gridiron. So he's gonna talk with us about that, and we're gonna talk about Steelers Ireland in general. But we're also gonna talk about the game and how excited we are for that. And there'll be plenty of coverage on that over the summer. So we wanted to just focus on the Super Bowl for today. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Season wrapped up. And what a season it was. But let's move on now and hope next season brings a bit more joy for our Jets and Giants. But
mm,
onto
likely.
your unlikely is right. Onto your team now for the football. So you've got the team this week to cover, and of course you've gone for Liverpool, the High Flyers. Your love. I'll let you lead the way here.
Yeah, do you know what? It's been a couple of weeks now, and I thought it's about time that we give them a bit of credit because what they're doing this season just so unexpected, and they have been pretty much faultless almost across all competitions. Top of the Premier League, chance to go 9 points clear tonight against Everton. Tops the Champions League group stage in the Carabao Cup final. Players like Gravenberch, Van Dijk, they're playing out of their skin. Gravenberch looks like a new man. I don't think it's the same man we had last season because this season he looks like a completely new player under Ernie's loss. I just think they've been incredible. It's a slower tempo football to what we had under Klopp, but it actually seems to suit the players better than Klopp's side of play did last year. The slow build up from the back, they're a joy to watch. I look forward to watching them every week now again. Didn't really enjoy them at the weekend, but it was a second string team, so sometimes it's great being in the conversation for the quadruple, but you're never going to win a quadruple, so you might as well get the hopes stashed nice and early and just move on with the trophies that are there to be won.
Yeah, I think I heard. I don't know if you listened to today's Tifo podcast episode, but
No, not
um,
this.
they were talking about Liverpool, and Joe said like that he is happy that the quadruple chat is over because he's like, I didn't want to spend time talking about something I knew wasn't going to happen. So
Mm,
like that's fair because yeah, just get that out of the way because that's just a distraction more than anything, to be honest. And you even had bits of that like last season, the talk of
yeah,
multiple trophies, and it's just a distraction. But in general, you've lost four times, I think, all season, in all competitions,
four, yeah.
and that speaks for itself. Like, what really more can you say there? I think the most goals scored by any team in the Premier League and the least goals conceded. So the best attack
Hmm.
and the best defense, all around the best team. Still in for a treble. I've noted here. Obviously, I think it's very difficult to compete on all fronts, but you have the Carabao Cup final, so that's already one that you're already in the final. So it's only one more game. But
Mm.
obviously, the Premier League and the Champions League are a bit more difficult, especially the Champions League, given the quality in that. While you're trying to defend, um, not sorry, not defend, fend off challengers in the Premier League. So I think it is difficult to do something like a treble, obviously. But I think a double even would be an unbelievable season. Even a one trophy
Absolutely.
would have been an
Yeah.
excellent start for Slot, considering, like you said, I think that kind of what you said there, an unexpected start, is like you kind of forget that you've just got a new manager because it's so seamless the way it moved in from
Mm.
the way Klopp had Liverpool playing. But the man I want to focus on is Salah. Like, this guy,
Mm.
like watching him play, actually against Spurs in that game when we were like more as a team. Liverpool were excellent, but Salah was quiet. But 99% of the time when you watch him play, it's just unbelievable. Like, he has the most goals and assists by a player over 32 years of age ever in the Premier League already. And that was Vardy that held the record previously with 28. Salah has 34 at this point. So you're looking at 34 goals and assists in total in 23 games. Like, that is absolutely disgusting. Like,
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
I don't understand how he's doing that. And the most ever, obviously, is Shearer and Cole. Those were in the seasons with 42 games. So if we look past those, that was 47. To be honest, he could reach that in a 38 game season. But the most in 38 game season are Haaland and Henry, who both have 44. So those were 20 years apart. Once in 2022 with Haaland, 23, and the others in 2002 and 3 with um, Henry. So he needs 11 more in the last 15 games to match that record, to break that record. Sorry. So to be honest, I think he could easily do it if you look at the way he's going. Like 34 in 23 games, it's nuts. Like,
Like he's 26 goals and 18 assists in all competitions across the season. Like he's been absolutely phenomenal. Even the pass he put through for Nunes to win the penalty against Spurs, it's eye the needle stuff. Like kind of just he knows where to put it every time. He's almost mastered the trivela with the outside of his foot. So like and anytime that comes off, it looks absolutely unbelievable. But I'd just
yeah,
like to go back to the whole team for a second and just talk about it. So like in the
yeah.
league, they've played 23, 117, sorry, yeah, played 23, 117, drew five and lost one. The expected goals is 53.9. They've scored 56. Expected
Hmm.
goals against is 20.8. They've conceded 21. So their expected goal difference is plus 33.1 and it's actually 35. Like they're on their metrics across the board, every single place. And there's been a couple of results that have annoyed me over the season. Obviously there has been with like the Newcastle one, for example, conceding legs. And the Forest loss at home, obviously, at the time was terrible. But like if you were to go over the games and put down the results you think should have happened, like I think 17, 5 and 1 is a pretty good standard of where they actually have is where they have actually been over the course of the season. Like I think as I said, the chance to go 9 points clear tonight, it's absolutely massive. Now I
Hmm.
know it's a derby and it's always different, but if they can go out there tonight and get the job done, like it's one hell of a like you're in a great position then with 15 games left to go.
Yeah. No, I think tonight's game is massive, and yeah, all bets are off in a derby. Last derby in Goodison Park as well.
Mm.
Everton on good form. They won their last three in the Prem. So yeah, it's far from easy, but a win would be like kind of it would be such another big step. I think looking at the team as a whole, I think I've said to you multiple times that one of the players that stands out to me is McAllister. Yes, he's not one of the names that gets as much shout, and he may not start every single game, but when he does play, you can just see his freedom in that team because he knows he has the legs around him, and of course he can cover a lot of ground
Mm.
himself. But he also has that kind of safety blanket around of the ability of the players around him, and he can express himself a lot more than he did at Brighton. And you kind of see that the way he plays for Argentina almost come out with those tricks and when
Mm.
he starts to feel good about his performance, the shots he takes on. But to go back to your point about being on pace, and that points out to me more than anything, no stupid mistakes. Like no needless giving away games. Obviously, there's games where you feel like you could have done better, but in general, just solid football and a strong game plan. And that comes from the players as well as the coach. So I think in general, there's no real negative. Obviously, the Plymouth loss is funny because they're bottom of the championship. But like, look,
Yeah.
these things do happen. But as a United fan, like obviously looking at that, like you'd be laughing at us if we lost to that. So you have to let us
Mm.
have something here this season. But look, I think the only other negative is the contract situations, and I think they're overblown in terms of how much they're talked about at this point. So I think that stuff will sort itself out, and obviously the transfers are annoying for Liverpool fans because I don't honestly know what they're doing over there with that whole side of things, but that's kind of one for another day, I suppose, in the summer because they've been excellent on the pitch and to to a man, like really excellent. And that's great also to have an Irishman there playing plenty of games this season with Callagher in the
Yeah.
sticks. So he's been brilliant.
Yeah, I think what you were saying there with McAllister as well, like when the midfield is McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, like they seem to work so well together where they're all doing the dirty work, but they're all kind of covering each other as well. So if Gravenberch bursts forward, McAllister drops in, Szoboszlai drops in for McAllister. Like the way they three of them kind of interlink and play it's been a joy to watch, especially recently. So Szoboszlai seems to have gone up a gear as well as Gravenberch in the last since Christmas maybe. He started scoring more goals. He's linking up better with Salah and Gakpo. He's another man who looks completely different, and he might maybe just needed more time with Slot to kind of understand the position he was playing. Because at the start of the season, he's the one that I would have dropped, and
Yeah,
now he almost looks undroppable again now. But the whole midfield looks undroppable at the moment. Like you could rattle off 10 of the 11 players are going to start every week because
yeah,
they're the ones on form and the partnerships are all incredible. The only one would be maybe Diaz coming out for Jota if he was fit or something, but the other 10 are pretty much all nailed on. Like it's mad. And the fitness levels of them as well. That haven't really suffered with that many injuries this season as well compared to last year, compared to other
yeah.
teams in the league this year as well. So, but yeah, it's just they've been a joy to watch, and I just hope it continues now and they don't lose tonight and fall off a cliff from there. And but I can't see that.
No, I don't think so. I think it's well set up, and even whatever happens in the summer with incomings and outgoings, I think Slot is a good coach. So
Mm.
I think you've got a good game plan, a good system now. So definitely a solid years ahead. It's not a fall off like you previously had. There's not
Yeah,
that issue that there. I don't think really in my eyes. I think there's no. I don't think there's anything to fret in terms of how this is going to translate to future seasons. So yeah,
no, I don't think so
flying it,
either.
absolutely flying it, top of the league. What more can be? But I've
Exactly.
gone for a man who's on his top form as well. Obviously, team he's playing for aren't top of the league, but he has been performing excellently, and also in this team's Champions League season, which has been absolutely insane. So I'm talking about Morgan Rogers for Aston Villa. He's just been watching him play like in general has just been superb. I think I've kind of his background, and it's been a very quick rise because he's one of those City Academy products, of course, that there's been many that they've sold on. But when he went to Borough last season, or 2 seasons, I suppose it was like in the summer at the start of last season that he went there. So he was there
Yeah, he was
for
18 months.
yeah. So he when he was there under Carrick, he was excellent. And in the Championship and League Cup in that last half a season, he's had 7 goals and 8 assists. And I think Carrick has been a very good coach in general for Middlesbrough. And I think he kind of helped the likes of Rodgers along very nicely, and it was a nice stepping stone for him. And then to move to Villa, I think half of last season he was impressive, but he's one of those players that you kind of looked at and you were thinking, will he end up adding goals and assists to his game, or is he just kind of a powerful athlete? And then you look at him this season, and he's been on another level altogether. So he's had 11 goals and 6 assists in all competitions in 33 games. His physical level is just astounding. Like he's 22 years of age and he's playing this well. He's this strong. He's that strong of a runner. Some of the times he gets on the ball, you're just thinking, is anyone going to be able to take it off him? Like he's exactly what a modern attacking midfielder should be with the way the game has gone. And his powerful runs and his physical level are just something to behold when he plays. Villa have an absolute gem. Like what a move there, and they're only going to get stronger as time goes on. The likes of him and the team.
Yeah, and just to go back to your point on his goals and assists, like so in the league and Champions League alone, he has 9 goals and 5 assists. Like, and he scored against Spurs as well. So like he's shown up on the big stage every time as well. He's not just doing it in like garbage time goals, as they'd say in like American football or basketball.
Yeah,
He's showing up when they need him. Like it's 9 goals and 5 assists in the league, Champions League. His first time in the Champions League with Aston Villa, who weren't expected to be there. I think it's incredible. And like he's 6'2". Like he's a big lad. He's not getting knocked off the ball. He's not being bullied. He's the one who's kind of doing the bullying, if anything, kind of just like shrugging defenders off, and he links up. I think he links up so well with Watkins as well. The two of
yeah.
them seem to have a really good understanding when they're going up front for Villa. And I just said they really do have a gem on their hand. And I think he's another 70 or 80 million pound player in 2 or 3 years if Villa kind of fall off the height they're on at the moment and he wants to go and play regular Champions League football.
Yeah, yeah, and he's shown that he can play on that stage, as you've said. How impressive he's been. I think in that game when they played Juventus, watching that was such a big game, and watching him in that, the way the crowd was behind him and how strong he was on the ball, it was like a lot of people might not have known who he was outside of the English Premier League watchers at that point, and even then, not everybody would have been too familiar with him. And you could see then his ability in that game, and it's just grown from there. He's already got his first call up for England, so he has two caps. One of them was
Yeah,
against Ireland, and I was just thinking that that modern midfielder, him next to Bellingham, with someone like Rice sitting behind them, like England would have. I don't think they can mess this up. Like previously we looked at some selections and you're thinking, what is this England team doing? Obviously, we don't mind if they pick a bad team and we're, whatever. But if they if they if they just simply watch the games, having those two lads together, like who's going to stop that midfield? That dominance, that physicality is just on another level. And the guy loves a tackle as well. He loves to stick in a boot. He has the joint second most cards in the yellows in the Premier League with 8. So he needs to watch out, man. There could be a suspension coming up
a
for him, but he
second
loves an out
suspension.
tackle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just like if he's been everywhere for Aston Villa. Like I just said, he's making tackles, he's assisting, he's scoring, and anything that Villa need him to do on a weekly basis, he's doing it. No bother to him. Like I think he's been a revelation from. He really has come and it goes to show he's another one who's come up from the Championship,
yeah.
and he's been a bargain. Like Adam Wharton's another one. I know he hasn't played
Hmm.
yet the season for Palace, but the 6 months he had at the end of last season for Palace turned him into a different team. Absolutely incredible. So it goes to show that there definitely are players in the championship that teams should be looking at to bring in because, so like, let's say if he went back to Man City and he was doing this now, then everyone would be like, oh, it's great they brought back in a kid, and instead of having to pay maybe 70 or 80 million to get him back in 2 years' time, they could have gotten him back for 8 million. Like, so I
Yeah,
think there more scouting needs to be done in that league because there's some serious talents in there. Rockavata is doing it for Watford at the moment.
yeah,
Not last night, but in general, like he's another man who's in top form in the championship. And I think Morgan Rogers has been incredible. And I think he's a great man to pick because he deserves a good bit of credit for what he's been doing
yeah. I think that playing in that league in general develops you a lot physically as a player as
toughens you
well.
up.
And I think I kind of mentioned last week when I spoke about Irish transfers and how I thought that moving to other European leagues is a better move than staying in England forever. But I think starting in the Championship and then moving abroad, like kind of what Festi has just done and a lot of other guys have done, I think that's a good move too. Obviously for Rodgers, he is English, so playing in England is obviously his top priority there, and he's done such a good job to take that next step. I think, kind of a side point there to what you mentioned of looking at players in that league. I think Hayden Hackney might be another one to keep an eye on now with Borough. Watching him, another Borough talent working with Carrick, watching him play for them is just unbelievable player. Very young, very strong, dominant, has a good shot. So that's another guy to keep an eye on. But I think in general, Rodgers is only going to grow. He's only going to get better, and I've been extremely impressed with him this season, and he's a great addition to this Villa team. So I think I think like you said, possibly one that could go for 70 or 80 million. To be honest, he has that kind of swagger on the pitch and the way he plays that you could see him playing for a European giant like
Mm,
outside of the Premier League. He wouldn't look out of place for a Real Madrid or a PSG, like to be honest, right now. So
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think I've nothing else to say in them anyway. So unless you've anything to add, I think we're good to move on to our first game of the day, I believe.
Yeah, game time, man. Take it
Mm.
away.
Like my favorite game, my absolute favorite game. We're going to talk about our Gan chance for this week. Gan chance for this week. I think at the moment it's 14-4 to me.
No,
I've
yeah,
had
I'm getting obliterated here. Like,
I've had back-to-back three correct ones weeks, but it's a lot more difficult this week because obviously the NFL is over. The NBA is going into the All-Star weekend, so we've had to pick three teams from the championship. Do you want to, sorry, from the Premier League. Do you want to give me your three first and then I'll give you mine?
okay, cool. Yeah, like you said, fair play. I told everyone to back you last week,
Yeah.
and they better have because listen, lads, he picked three quality underdogs. Now I picked one of them as well, so like I'm just looking embarrassed here every week with 3 1s like across the board. I got one right every week. Like I was thinking, yeah, keep going, one right, two right the odd time. This man is like three right. So I hope he listened to me and I hope he backed what he put out there last week. Obviously, this week is more difficult, like you said, but what I've gone for is the most viable option, two of the most viable options, and one that I didn't know which to pick last, so I went with this. So first, I went with Newcastle to beat City away. So City are 4-5, Newcastle are 13-5. City put a lot into that game last night against Real, and I think Newcastle have had an extended break into this game. I think their away form has improved a lot. Newcastle, considering they used to just be a home team, now they look impressive away as well,
Mm.
and they're on the same points as City right now. So if they do win this game, they'll go ahead of them in the league. They're only behind them on goal difference. So going with Newcastle there. Then I've gone with Everton to beat Palace. So they're away to Palace. Palace are 19-20 and Everton are 29-10. Now, to be honest, I could see this one being more of a draw, but I thought it's an okay pick to have. Palace are in good form, so this one's kind of up in the air. But Everton have won their last three, and I know they're playing Liverpool tonight, so that doesn't help the cause. But if they did get something tonight, they might get a big boost going into the weekend there away. And their game plan is just going to be to sit back, soak up the Palace pressure, and similarly, it could be like another 1-0 to how they beat Brighton. And then lastly, I've gone with Wolves to beat Liverpool. So we just went on about Liverpool being so good. Actually, to be honest, I don't think this is going to happen, but I had to pick a third one. But yeah, Liverpool are 1-5, and Wolves are 11-1. They just beat Villa, and Liverpool have a big game tonight. A big derby. Similarly, I think there could be possibly something if something happens tonight that Liverpool go into it kind of on the back foot, but to be honest, I can't see that happening either. But yeah, that's just kind of a filler there for me for the third one.
Do you know what? Like at 11-1, like they are probably worth a fiver. Like at 11-1, it's a match between two teams at the end of the day on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. 11-1, I think, is crazy money for a Premier League match for any team
Yeah,
to be.
Premier League game especially.
Yeah, no matter how bad they are. I actually also have Newcastle to beat City.
Nice, cool.
And I just going away to City isn't the task it was 12 months ago, which a lot of teams have shown this year. And Newcastle are a really, really good team as well. I like the fact that they are the underdogs at that kind of level is what
Mm,
surprised me the most. I thought it'd be a far more even spread on that, especially with the Champions League game tonight. As you said, Newcastle have had a free week going into the game, and City still are not themselves. There's like the players dropping like flies again. Nico is out
yeah.
now as well. I don't know how long for. He started five centre backs last night against Real Madrid in the Champions League, and it almost worked, but it didn't in the end. And they lost. They lost. Who was it? Ake, I think, went off at halftime with an injury in that as well. So
Mm,
that's another one they've lost. I have actually gone back to back on Southampton. Southampton are 9-2 to beat Bournemouth at the
And
weekend.
I was looking at that one and I was like, come on, like Bournemouth, they're just on a different level.
I know they are, but like Bournemouth have been kind of going through a bit of a rocky spell now. To lost to Liverpool, they were excellent against Everton in the FA Cup, but Southampton have been knocked out of the FA Cup. They're like they after their win last weekend, they kind of need to. They just need to get wins on the board, and there's places that you can get them. You're not going to get them at the likes of Old Trafford more than likely. I know they, yeah, United won there. You won't get them at City. You won't get them in Liverpool. So they
I
need to
think
be looking at games
it's
like the
probably a better
Bournemouth
shout
game.
than than my one for the Wolves to beat
Yeah,
Liverpool. Let's be honest.
and then my third pick this week, I've gone for another out of the box one, but I backed Ipswich to go away and beat Villa. They're 13-2. Villa are 4-11. They're kind of on a bounce back. I know we're just talking about how good Morgan Rogers is and all that, but Villa have a lot of new players they're trying to bed into the team as well. They have Asensio, they have Rashford. Like you never know, and like again another one on a day where anyone can show up to a Premier League ground and win a game. Being limited to 10 games, and a lot of them weren't really in our favour for this game this week. So yeah,
Hmm.
as you bit like you with Wolves and Liverpool, I think I did need to go for one of them that was outside the box. So I've gone for Ipswich to go away and beat Villa.
Yeah, I think it's tough. Like I don't think either of us really think Wolves or Ipswich are going to win,
Mm.
but it's just like we're going against odds-on favourites. So there's only I think only five across the
Yeah, I
weekend.
think there
So we
was
kind of
five,
had
and I think
to.
we picked all five between the two of us as well.
Yeah, so look, we've gone with different ones too, which is actually interesting. Oh no, the only one we didn't go for was Leicester and Arsenal, but like, come
Yeah.
on, I think that's yeah, Arsenal are on a bit of a tear, trying to get up the league at the moment. So, and Leicester are just shockingly bad. But
Mm.
yeah, I think not bad shoots. Look, we work with what we've got. Let's see how you go this week. If you get another 5 pointer this week, I'll actually be so shocked because this week is so hard. So let's see how it goes. But look, to be honest, you're on a roll now, so I need to start clawing some points back.
Yeah.
So next, we're gonna touch on for the NBA. We're gonna talk about the All Star Weekend in general. So we're just gonna talk about um different points across the different games. Obviously, the main thing. So just quick rundown. So of it. So this episode will be coming out on Friday. So on Friday it's Rising Stars and Celeb Game. So like nobody really cares about Friday.
Mm.
Saturday, skills challenge. No one really cares about that either, to be honest. Like, honestly, if you're watching the skills challenge, you need to get some kind of help. And let's move on to the 3 point contest. That's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about 3 point contest, and I would have liked to talk about the slam dunk contest, but it's absolutely useless once again. Boring. Like last year, it was tragic. They said let's bring back a similar lineup. So let's focus on the 3 point contest, and we'll talk about our gripes with the slam dunk as well. But the field is Jalen Brunson, Cade Cunningham, Darius Garland, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Cam Johnson, Damian Lillard, and Norm Powell. So, what do you reckon?
I think again, like it's hard to look past Jalen Brunson on that. Like I know there are a lot of good options there. I think Tyler Hero would be in with a shout this year as well. But I do
Hmm.
think Jalen Brunson is on fire for the Knicks at the moment. He put 43 up on the Rockets there not too long ago as well. He's hooping like, and the Knicks are hooping. So he's going to come into this on a real run of confidence, and I could
Yeah,
see him just kind of, I could see him blowing. I know there's a lot of good competitors, but I could see him blowing a lot of them away, even in the first round of us. I think you could see him blowing them away, no bother.
yeah, I think confidence is a lot in this one right now. So that's also why I've gone with a man you mentioned, and I've gone with Tyler Hero. So I looked at in general, like some of the just to throw in for you guys the stats. So behind a couple of things is just I've looked at Garland and Norm Powell because I thought they had a pretty high 3 point percentage. So Garland is the highest of the bunch. He's
Okay.
on 43.8%. He's shooting the lights out this season. He's been superb for the Cavs in general, but and that's on 7 attempts per game. And then Norm Powell, as we know, he doesn't know how to play defense, so he just chucks up shots. So he's on 42.9% for the season with 7.9 attempts per game. Hero is 38.8%, so lower than those guys, but still decent, and he's probably having one of the best seasons of his career, and he's been doubted a lot, and I think he'll take confidence from kind of being one of the Heat's main guys now, and that's on nearly 10 attempts per game, so 9.7 attempts per game this season. Like he's just firing them up.
Yeah.
So I think that's why I kind of went with him as the winner because yeah, he if the guys who are taking a lot of shots, they're the guys who've had the most practice. Now all these guys take a lot of shots, but that's why I've gone with him for that. What do you think about the slam dunk contest?
I've written here that I think it's an excuse to keep your man, Mac McClung, relevant in the NBA because he does nothing for 364 days a year and then shows up to slam dunk contest, whacks out a couple of
Yeah.
dunks, and then just goes back to the G League again. Like, I think it's a disgrace. Like, it really is. It's an absolute disgrace that it's still the lineup every year is just this bad. Like, it's not worth watching.
No, it's not at all.
Like he's going to put a chair down, jump over a chair, and do a windmill, and that's going to win it. Like that's still, it's like it's rinse and repeat every year. Like it's literally just to keep him relevant, so he keeps his role in the G League for another 12 months.
Yeah, and like
Just forget about
the,
it.
like the from the days where we had the absolute battles, like and the boys
Mm,
jumping over cars, we're looking at Aaron Gordon. Like, come on, why is that gone? Like, we want to see that again. I get the players don't want to risk their bodies and whatever, but come on, what we want to see is Ja Morant against Anthony Edwards in this, like something
exactly.
like that. Pay the men, give them money if you have to, because this is what we everybody would watch that. That would be insane. And like this year, the fans being able to vote is just cool. A little addition. I think they have a bit of a say in it. So that's we'll see how that goes. But I think that's the only really positive about this. I would like to see someone new winning because I know your man McClung has won it twice. And come on, like honestly, yeah, like you said, he's playing on the Rising Stars G League team. Like this guy, no, like I don't know. He looked like a player who might be in an NBA team at some point, but I don't think so anymore. And
I
they're
don't think
like you
so
said,
either.
they're
I think
just
he gets wheeled out once a year to the whole nation, shows up a couple of slam dunks, and then probably can't shoot from the free point line. Then I didn't even bother looking up his stats, to be honest with you. Like I just there's no point. Like it's just no point to this whole thing. If they're going to keep going the way they're going with these lineups, they might as well just scrap it. They're not going
yeah,
to do anything to try and bring in, as you said, Jamarant, Anthony Edwards, Jalen Green. Like if you're not going to make an effort to get any of those lads in, then there's literally no point to it. Like because watching this lad again, just as I said, jump over a chair and do a windmill. It's just boring.
yeah,
Like everyone is sick of it.
and even the names, like the fact that like okay, no, like no offense, I suppose, to these guys. They're NBA players, and some of them are good. Like we have Buzelis, Castle, Jackson Jr., and McClung. Like
Mm,
Stephon Castle is only going to grow into be a good player, and I actually like him. I think he's a good player, but it's not the names that would draw the attention of the whole world to watch. And I think you could get that, like in the 3 point contest. It's good to watch, but there's only so much excitement with that. Whereas the slam dunk contest is kind of the epitome of the All Star weekend, and
absolutely, yeah.
we would like those big names obviously in there. But then looking at the actual games, I'll really quickly run through the three teams. So Team Shaq is LeBron, Steph, Kyrie, who's stepping in for Anthony Davis, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant, Lillard, James Harden, and Jalen Brown. Then Team Chuck is Jokic, Trey Young, who's stepping in for Giannis, SGA, Wemby, Pascal Siakam, your man Şengün, Kat, and Donovan Mitchell. And then Team Kenny is Anthony Edwards, Jalen Brunson, Jaren Jackson Jr., J Dub, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Cade Cunningham, and Tyler Hero. So I think the thing is that like semi-finals and a final, one of the teams from the Rising Stars game gets into it.
Yeah.
So I've gone with the team I think will win it is Team Shaq, with LeBron, Steph, Kyrie, Jason Tatum, Kevin Durant. Like it's basically a rerun of the Olympic team, and
Yeah, I agree
just
with you 100% on that as well. They're who I have as well. It's just
yeah,
they're the names that get people off their seats. Like, and putting the five of them on one team, it actually could be unfair when it comes down to it. I know they're the other two teams are quality as well, and they're full of quality. But you have five lads there who know how to do it. They've all been involved in many All-Star games. LeBron's 22nd or 23rd running it. Like it's
yeah,
it's mad. And when they are just having fun as well, Steph and LeBron, they seem to click very well together when they are playing in this kind of weekend as well.
Exactly.
So, like if Joe and the Olympics, they showed what they can do. So
Yeah.
I think it's hard to look past Team Shaq.
Yeah, I think that that's a key thing. The fact that they'll literally be just enjoying themselves out there. So I think, yeah, those guys playing together, like Kyrie and Steph throwing lobs up, you know that LeBron is going to try and get up there at least for one or two. Then it's just the three pointers because there's so much points scored in these, and having Steph and Damian Lillard and James Harden on the same team. I think, yeah, the other teams are excellent too. I think Team Chuck is interested in having Jokic and Wemby on the same team, but
Yeah,
he's gone for a lot of Big Ben. But like, this is the All Star game. Like, we're looking for a bit of hype and a lot of scores, a lot of fast
yeah,
play. Yeah, so we've both gone with the same there. I've kind of noted as well, just to wrap it up on the All Star game, the guys who I thought were snubs, who I thought should have been included. I've gone with Lamelo and Tyrese Maxey. Others of kind of note that people have kind of thrown around are Zach Levine, who's having a very good season, the Aaron Fox, who was the other part of that
yeah.
Levine Fox trade, Tyrese Halliburton, who has been on and off with injury, but he's looked excellent. But mainly for me, Lamelo, I think, brings that enjoyment, I suppose, and a lot of people voted for him. I know it's more like for younger viewers that love the highlight reels, love the splash plays, all that stuff. But yeah, I think that would have added something, and he is a good shooter. So I think he could have been a good representative of a smaller market like Charlotte. And then Maxi, obviously, I'm going to shout him out because he's a Sixers man. He wasn't good in the last game, but before that, the game before he had 20 odd points, and then like 8 games before that he had 30 or more points. He's like, I think he's top five in points per game across this season. So he's been excellent, and that's without a lot of pieces. He's stepped up a lot. I know the Sixers are far from flying right now, but I think it will stand to him in the future having to play without the other main guys there and guys that are injured. So I think, yeah, I think he should have been included. I think he does deserve it.
Who are you most excited to watching? If you can only pick
Um,
one player,
Steph. I love watching Steph in the All
yeah.
Star game.
I'm really
You?
excited to see Anthony Edwards. I think he's been a monster for
Mm,
Minnesota this year and up and coming. I think it's only his second year in the league. Another man who went to town on the Rockets there a couple of weeks back, but he's excellent to watch. He's so good from free throws, so good from three, and if he gets into a rhythm at all, just give him the ball and he'll throw up ridiculous shots, especially in All-Star game. Like he could be shooting from half court more than once, like and just kind of just sinking them down. I think he'll be really fun to watch. And obviously I look forward to watching Şengün in a game like that and seeing what he can do with those players around him and see if he's as good as people think he is.
yeah. I know, just to throw it out for anybody that's going to have a gripe with it, I know you meant second time in the All Star game, but it's like his third time now. So,
Yeah, so yeah.
yeah, just to throw that in there, just for people who are going to be like, oh, it's not his second year in the league. The man meant All Star game, not
Yeah.
league. But it's his third time there. Like you said, watching him, I think the main thing for that is his three pointers this season, how he stepped up and he's taken a lot more shots. I think that will add to the game. I think we might see him take a few logo shots, like
Yeah, definitely,
just to
yeah.
battle. Maybe if he's playing Steph, like that might be a little cool thing to go back and forth with that. And then obviously Edwards can dunk and catch lobs like Steph really can't do that. So yeah, I think it's a good shout to for him. And yeah, that's the All Star weekend kind of previewed. I'm looking forward to watching the games and the 3 point contest as well. And I'll cast my eye over the slam dunk contest in spite of
Yeah.
it. But let's move on then to our power rankings. So I'll let you fire away first. Give us your update for this week.
Probably so. I'll just start and say that so we kind of just went that we'll just put the Eagles in from the NFL and then pick the other five across the Premier League and the NBA.
Yeah.
So I kept Liverpool on the top of mine. I know they lost to Plymouth, but I think that they are still the team to beat in the Premier League. They'll have a Champions League game coming up against probably against PSG, but the way things are going. So I there's no reason to drop them yet. If they lose tonight, they might drop the second, but at the moment they are flying.
Hmm.
With the Eagles in number two, obviously Super Bowl winners deserve to be in it, and if Liverpool weren't doing what they're doing, I would have definitely put Eagles top. I have added in the Grizzlies. I think
Nice.
they're on their own at the moment. They're just on fire. They're putting up a lot of points every single week, and they're a team to beat as well at the moment too. I have Forest at four. They're still going along nicely. I know they went through in the cup the hard way against Exeter, but there's no need to take them out. They're still absolutely flying, still in the top four in the Premier League. I had the Knicks in at five. They're eight
Nice.
and two. They're pretty much beating up everyone. They're third in the East now. They're absolutely flying. Jalen Brunson going into the All-Star weekend on the back of a really good run. They're a really good team to watch, and they're one that's coming into form at the right time as well. Coming out the back end of All-Star weekend now, they could be probably be a force to be reckoned with. And in six, I have another new entry in Newcastle. They're in the cup
Nice.
final. They're through in the FA Cup. They're flying in the league. Isak's quality on form. And Anthony Gordon on form, incredible. Even Jacob Murphy looks like a good footballer at the moment. I think they're a really good team to watch, and it's all positive for them at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, nice. So you've gone a few changes there. I like it. But I have to say I disagree. I'm gonna have a gripe with you now because that Eagles not being top after winning the Super Bowl, that's like Liverpool winning the Champions League and you put like the Chiefs first because they just lost to the Raiders. Like you just lost to Plymouth. Come on, man. Slip down one spot there for those mighty Eagles.
That
Come on,
may have
man.
been my bias, may have been my bias stepping in, but we're
Possibly,
we're we're an unbiased podcast. I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. Yeah, we you see how unbiased I was and see how I talked about Liverpool like I love them. Very good analysis and very well reserved. It kept my fan tendencies at bay. But I know, yeah, I think Liverpool obviously unreal season. That's why I've got them in second. So Eagles are first for me, then Liverpool. New entry for me then in the Lakers. So in general, like we're looking at the season as a whole, but also having a heavy emphasis on recent form, given like how Shane's got Forest in there, he's got the Grizzlies in there. They might not be top of the league, but they've on good form, and their season as a whole has been good. So I think the Lakers did deserve maybe a bit of a shout at this point because 9-1 in their last 10. They've won six in a row, beating the Warriors, Clippers, Knicks, Celtics, and most of those games were without Luca. And they still don't have a center. I think they're going to get Alex Lennon now after the Williams trade breakdown. So they're third for me. I think they do deserve it. I could see them possibly moving down and up depending with the way the rest of the season could go. But yeah, they're in third for me for based on last week and recent months. Then I've got the Thunder back in. So I think just the fact that they beat the Grizzlies is what knocked the Grizzlies out for me and put the Thunder in. I think just obviously they were top. I think they were like third for me or second earlier on, and same for you. And it's kind of up and down because they do lose. They have lost a couple of more
Mm.
games recently, but I've got them in there because they beat the Grizzlies, beat the Suns, scoring 140, 144
Mm.
against the Kings. Like I don't know, they're just unbelievable, and they're getting Chet back. They're only going to get more. They're only going to get better. I honestly can't see anybody else winning the West apart from another team that I'm going to bring up. But next, I've got Newcastle, same as you. I think, look, sixth in the Prem, only on goal difference, as I mentioned earlier, with City. They're in the cup final after dismantling Arsenal over two legs. And then the Nuggets are the last team who I think are the kind of the only other challenger in the West at the moment, like that I see. I know there's other challengers there, other good teams, but I do think they're the main challenger for the Thunder with the fact that they're on a 7 game winning streak and Jokic has been excellent all season, but he's just a ridiculous player and things are coming
He's
together with
he's out of this world what he's doing. That shot
yeah.
from the corner the other day, like
Nah.
all the memes in the week where you put up 23.9 seconds of perfect defense and Jokic does this, and you're just like, what are you meant to do? Like he's backed into a corner. He can't take another step because he's gone out of bounds and he just chops it up
Yeah.
straight in. He's just for the size of him, he's a ridiculous basketball player.
No, he's unbelievable. And just was gonna shout out like Jamal Murray taking a little bit of an improvement after a bad start and Michael Porter Jr. as well. Have been solid this season, so yeah, they're in sixth for me. So slightly different lists. It's good to see a bit of variety between our two. So any other business you want to wrap up with?
Just a small one. And it is a small one because he's a small man, but Ronnie James is not an NBA
Jesus
caliber player.
Christ.
He's not an NBA caliber player at the moment anyway. Maybe he will get there, but he's not at the moment. I was looking there. He has the lowest free throw percentage in NBA history at the moment. So four of every thousand shots he takes goes in on average. He's at like 0.04% field goal success rate. He's literally living on his father's coattails at the moment. He goes down to G League and shows up 20 odd points and then comes back up and does absolutely nothing but hinder the Lakers. I I really don't see him ever being good enough to be in the NBA. I think he'll be a G League or a European player, but I don't think he has it in him to be an NBA player full time.
No, I don't know. I think, yeah, I don't think he should have got drafted at all, to be honest. I think he should have been undrafted, but maybe it was the fact that someone was just going to wait and
Mm.
take him right at the end just so the Lakers would have to trade for him so he could play with LeBron. Maybe they were worried about that, but I don't know. I didn't like the thing of that 3-pointer he scored and everyone was clapping as if like, is a
He would have,
fan playing a game.
yeah,
Like he's an
exactly.
NBA player. Like he's there to make shots. Looking at his G League stats, he's in 7 games, he's gone 27 minutes, 13.4 points, like 36% from the field, like you mentioned with his bad shooting, like 21% from three, 66% from the free throw line, like 3 turnovers per game. Like I think even for the G League stats, it hasn't been good. Yeah, there's a lot of time for him to grow, and I think he might. You can't rule anything out,
Yeah,
especially if he works hard and LeBron is there, working hard with him. But if he's anybody else similar to like, Thanasis, whatever, it's that's kind of probably a bit harsh on Thanasis at this point because Bronny isn't even at that level. Like, yeah, I agree that I don't think he should be an NBA player. Maybe he would be better suited to playing in Europe, but I don't. That's not going to happen. He has the name. He has the ability to stick around. So let's see. Maybe he'll improve. But yeah, I think in fairness to you, you're fairly on the you're fairly on the right track there with what you said. You hit the nail on the head. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's what we've got for this week with Shane wrapping up with an absolute dagger to Bronny James. But
I'm sure he won't care.
nice. No, I doubt he'll care at all, and definitely won't hear this. But anyway, yeah, you never know, man. He might be like filtering all content to have his name in it, so he can hear all the badness, and you're in trouble then. Like you just called him a small man.
Excellent. Yep,
But yeah, that's it. That's it for this episode. Good to have you back with us.
good to
Obviously, I
be
mentioned that.
back.
Yeah, Jimmy will be here next week, so we'll have a guest on for the NFL portion. But let's get this thing rolling again with you back in the fray. Great episode. Enjoyed the chat, and yeah, we'll do it all again next week, lads. Please share it around, give it a like on whatever platform, and give it a listen. Tell people about it if you're enjoying, and we appreciate all the support so far. So best of luck, and we will talk to you again next week.
Cheers, lads. Mind yourself.